Good evening and welcome to Global Lens News. I'm Saadia Afzaal. Imagine calling someone a con artist and then just a few years later becoming one of his most trusted allies. That's exactly what Marco Rubio once said about Donald Trump during the brutal 2016 Republican primaries. Back then, Rubio warned that a Trump presidency would bring chaos. Trump, in return, mocked him as Little Marco. It looked like a rivalry that would never be repaired. And yet today, Rubio sits at the very heart of Trump's administration as Secretary of State, standing beside him during some of the most consequential and controversial foreign policy decisions of this era. So what changed? Did Rubio change his beliefs, or did he simply adapt to political reality? And more importantly, is he shaping Trump's foreign policy or just learning how to survive within it? To understand Marco Rubio today, you have to understand one thing. He is no longer just a politician with ideas. He is a politician with strategy, calm, composed, and articulate. Rubio plays a very specific role in Trump's world. Where Trump is impulsive, Rubio is measured. Where Trump is chaotic, Rubio creates the appearance of order. In many ways, he acts as a translator, taking Trump's instincts and reframing them into something that looks like coherent foreign policy. And that role has become especially important as the administration has taken a more aggressive turn on the global stage. In recent months, the United States has carried out bold and risky actions, from operations targeting leadership in Venezuela to direct military strikes on Iran. And Rubio hasn't just been watching from the sidelines. He has been there, close to the center of power, backing these decisions and helping execute them. This matters because it tells us that Rubio is not simply a passive figure. He is actively aligned with the more hawkish vision of American people. But inside Trump's circle, not everyone agrees with that direction. Figures like J.D. Vance represent a more isolationist approach, one that questions foreign interventions and emphasizes pulling back from global conflicts. What we are really seeing then is a quiet internal competition, not just between personalities, but between two visions of America's role in the world. And increasingly, Rubio appears to be winning that argument, at least for now. That brings us to the bigger game, the one that may explain Rubio's every move, the 2028 presidential race. Behind the scenes, Trump has reportedly been asking allies and donors a simple but powerful question. Who should succeed him, Rubio or Vance? It's a question that turns current policy decisions into future political positioning. Every success strengthens Rubio's case. Every failure weakens it. And Trump, ever the strategist, has an incentive to keep both men guessing, ensuring that neither becomes too powerful too quickly. Rubio understands this dynamic better than most. He has beaten the odds before. When he first ran for the Senate, he was trailing badly, yet he managed to turn the race around and win. His political identity has always been tied to his personal story, the son of Cuban immigrants who arrived in America with little and built a life through hard work. That narrative once made him one of the most compelling figures in the Republican Party, even drawing comparisons to charismatic leaders like Barack Obama in terms of his ability to connect with audiences. But the Rubio of today is different. Over time, his positions have shifted in ways that have earned him a new label from critics, the chameleon. As a senator, he supported immigration reform and took a hard line against Russia, advocating support for Ukraine. Today, he serves under a president who champions mass deportations and has shown a notably softer stance toward Vladimir Putin. That kind of transformation raises an uncomfortable question. Is Rubio being pragmatic? adjusting to political reality, or is he simply abandoning old principles in pursuit of power? Supporters argue that this criticism misses the bigger picture. They say Rubio's adaptability is not weakness, but strategy. In their view, he is one of the few figures inside the administration capable of moderating Trump's more extreme impulses. European leaders, for example, often see Rubio as someone they can still engage with, a steady hand in an otherwise unpredictable system. He doesn't openly challenge Trump, but he shapes how policies are presented and, at times, how they are implemented. You can see this clearly in moments of diplomacy. At international gatherings like the Munich Security Conference, Rubio has demonstrated a very different style from some of his counterparts. Where others deliver blunt, confrontational messages, Rubio wraps similar ideas in the language of shared history and mutual respect. The substance may not change, but the tone does. And in diplomacy, tone can be everything. It's a subtle form of influence, one that doesn't rely on confrontation, but on presentation. Yet, for all his visibility, Rubio's power has limits. In Trump's world, formal titles don't always translate into real control. Some of the most sensitive negotiations, whether involving the Middle East, Russia, or Ukraine, are often handled by trusted insiders like Jared Kushner, or figures outside the traditional diplomatic structure. That means Rubio's role is sometimes less about deciding policy and more about executing it effectively, ensuring that the machinery of government keeps moving even when decisions are made elsewhere. And then there's the biggest risk of all, the Middle East, and particularly the conflict with Iran. Rubio has been one of the strongest advocates for a hardline approach, supporting military action at a time when others urged caution. But this is where the stakes become incredibly high. The situation has proven far more complex than anticipated, with the conflict expanding and global consequences becoming harder to control. If this strategy ultimately succeeds, Rubio could emerge as one of the most important figures in shaping modern American foreign policy and a leading contender for the presidency. But if it fails, the consequences could be just as dramatic, potentially ending his political trajectory altogether. That's the paradox of Marco Rubio. He is both powerful and constrained, influential yet dependent, ambitious but patient. He operates in a system where loyalty is essential, where public disagreement can be fatal, and where survival often depends on knowing when to adapt and when to stay silent. So who is Marco Rubio really? Is he a true believer in the policies he now defends, or a strategist playing a long and careful game? Is he shaping the future of American foreign policy, or simply positioning himself to inherit it? The answer is not simple, and that's precisely what makes him so fascinating. Because in today's political landscape, consistency is no longer the only path to power. Adaptability, timing, and strategic restraint can matter just as much. And Rubio seems to understand that better than most. Whether that makes him a skilled statesman or a political chameleon depends entirely on how this story ends and whether the risks he's taking today ultimately pay off tomorrow. This is Saadia Afzaal for Global Ends News.